what you're thinking. How did this happen? Well, it's a long story.
A contender.
It's main event time. And now, I give you your incredible...
We know each other. He's a friend from work.
Oh, come on.
The third installment of the Thor series of movies is coming out this November the 3rd, and I have been waiting for a trailer to do a video on, and thankfully my sister in Yeshua, Maria Sakal, she sent me a personal message on Facebook to inform me of this new trailer that you just saw at the beginning of this video. And just the name Ragnarok, there is something very interesting about that particular term, which we will get into later on. But in my opinion, I believe we are being shown the all-out cataclysm that is coming very soon. It has been described in the book of Daniel. It has been described in Isaiah 13. It has also been described in the book of Revelation. And we are being shown biblical prophetic events in these movies that I believe is going to spill out onto this earth very, very soon. And sadly, the Illuminati, the Jesuits, the Kabbalists, the occultists, the people behind Hollywood, they know what is coming because they worship Lucifer, and they believe that Lucifer and the fallen angels are going to win. But sadly, they are deceived and they are mistaken. And so I want to break down what I believe we are being shown here. Again, you can come to your own conclusions. You are under no obligation to believe anything that I say. But as we look at to what even IMDb says about this movie, we'll see that it's talking about Thor being imprisoned on the other side of the universe and finds himself in a race against time to get back to Asgard to stop Ragnarok, the destruction of his home world, and the end of the Asgardian civilization at the hands of an all-powerful new threat, the ruthless Hela. So we're going to talk about what this Ragnarok is. Obviously, it has something to do with destruction, but really it is much more than what we are being told here in IMDb. It is a much deeper topic than what is being portrayed here on IMDb. And before we get into some of this stuff, I just want to give some background as to some of the mythology here or the characters. You will recall that Thor's father is Odin, and he is played by Anthony Hopkins. Now, they do a great job in depicting these particular characters, and even though this is a Marvel comic, you know, we would think that this is about superheroes, but really Odin and Thor go back to Norse mythology. They are basically the same variation of other pagan deities, and so we've got Odin here with the one eye patch, go figure. I believe that even though they are very powerfully depicted in these movies, this is a direct representation, at least in my opinion, of Lucifer himself. Of course, we've got the one eye symbology, and Thor, in my opinion, is a depiction of the counterfeit Messiah. You know, they try to help people. They are seemingly benevolent and very powerful, and they love to glamorize their powers, but I believe we are being shown something completely different. And when we look at Odin, even from Wikipedia, we'll see that in Norse mythology, Odin was the king of Aesir. He is a god of war and death, as well as a sky god and the god of wisdom and poetry. So think about that sky god. We know that the Bible says that Lucifer is the prince of the power power of the air. So again, Odin, in my opinion, is a direct representation of Satan. So along with being a god, he is the all-father of all the Nordic gods. He is also heavily associated with magic. All right, so again, I believe this is Satan himself being shown in this Norse mythology. Odin has only one eye because he sacrificed one to drink from the fountain of wisdom. So again, that all-seeing eye symbolizing wisdom, the wisdom of Lucifer basically. And so of course, good old Odin is full of that. So I believe again, he is a representation of Lucifer. And so his wives are Frigg and Jord and the earth. So if you got Odin married to the earth, you've got yet again mother goddess worship, all this kind of thing. And of course, his eldest son is Thor, the god of thunder. Now, we mentioned before in a previous video on that television series coming out, American Gods, that it was also about Odin because, of course, in the older English, Odin is named Woden. The name of the weekday, Wednesday in English, comes from Woden's Day. So the fact that the character that Ian McShane is playing in that TV series American Gods, he calls himself Wednesday. He is shown to be a supernatural figure. I believe, again, we are being shown this character of Odin, who is none other than Lucifer himself. And again, I believe that Odin, who is Lucifer, is basically the Norse representation of Zeus, who again is called a sky god. So same kind of thing, the god or the prince of the power of the air. He is also called the All-Father, who is the chief of all the gods. So same kind of thing going on here. Zeus, the chief of all the gods. I believe this is yet again a representation of Lucifer. Again, the whole lightning bolt that Lucifer uses, or sorry, that Zeus uses, well, basically one and the same thing, as their chief weapon. So again, a reference to Lucifer falling like lightning from heaven, as Yeshua told us in the scriptures. So this is again a direct representation, in my opinion, of Lucifer, that Odin, in my opinion, represents Lucifer, and Thor represents the false Messiah that is coming very, very soon. And another character that we were shown in a brief description of this movie is Hela. Now, she is played by Cate Blanchett, who does an excellent job even just watching the trailer, but we're going to see just what this Hela is all about. It's quite fascinating and very, very interesting, and goes along with so many of the same things that we have been talking about on this channel. So as we look at some screenshots from the trailer, we see that it opens with Thor basically falling down a pit. He's on this chain. He's all basically bound up and sent down into this pit. We can see that it basically looks like hell. This is known as the underworld of Asgard, which is Thor's realm, and it's actually called Hell, or Hel. So, does this look familiar? You've got these, basically demonic figures all over the place, and there's basically fire in this place, so it looks like the pit. I mean, right away, this is screaming to me imagery of Revelation 9 and the pit about to be opened. And, as we keep going, we'll see that now, first you got to remember that Thor is the son of Odin, who is the god of, the sky god, prince of the power of the air. So I believe, again, Thor represents the false Messiah, or the son of Lucifer. So, and what's also interesting is Thor is also depicted as this false image of Yeshua, with the long beard and the hair. They love to think or make us believe that Yeshua was some, white European looking person, but really I don't believe he looked like this at all. But they constantly push this same kind of imagery onto us, this false Messiah imagery. But to me, is this possibly a mockery of what Yeshua did for us when he died, going into hell, taking our sin for us, and going into hell and defeating Satan and death and Hades, and getting the keys of death and Hades, in fact. So really, I think this is possibly a mockery of what Yeshua has done for us. But this is like showing the false Messiah that is going to save us. But really, these false gods that are being depicted, none of the fallen angels, including Lucifer himself, they would never die for any of us, because they are way too selfish to save us. They only want to be worshipped. Okay, so that's really what these false gods are about. But they love to depict themselves as heroes, of course. In fact, they call themselves heroes. But as we keep going on in the trailer, we get introduced to the main villain of the story, again played by Cate Blanchett, Hela, goddess of hell and death. And basically, as you see the scene, now they don't show her face yet, but you see what in the background, what looks to be a portal that she is coming out of. And what else, or who else do you know that a certain machine is being worked on, even as we speak, to open a door to the other side. I'm sure you know which machine I'm talking about. And, what are the chief gods that are being shown at that very same facility? The god and goddess of death and destruction. And we are going to get into that in a little while later in this video. So Hela, let's talk a little bit about this character Hela. Very, very interesting when you look at her more closely. And so I've got some articles here this one is from comicbook.com, and talks about Thor Ragnarok, this movie, and what is Hela's sword. So she has a special power in her sword, and they've got the same description here that was said on IMDb, but she wields this particular sword here, and it says later on in this article that her sword, her favored blade, is often called the Night Sword. The Night Sword can become charged and wreathed in green flames. So again, remember that green kind of thing. We're going to talk about that later on. And there's not much to be said about the Night Sword's specific origin and capabilities, other than it is powerful enough to allow Hela to stand toe-to-toe with Thor and his Mjolnir, which is his hammer. So we know that Thor is very powerful. So this goddess can stand up to Thor himself. And what I found quite interesting is that the Twilight Sword may be of importance in Thor Ragnarok because Surtur is prophesied to light twilight on the eternal flame and use the sword to bring Ragnarok to the gods. Now, this is something that we're going to talk about in more detail later on. What exactly is Ragnarok, and what is being brought to these supposed gods? What is coming? All right, so we'll look at that in a little bit here, because as we keep looking at Hela, what's fascinating about her is that she is, according to the mythology, the Asgardian goddess of death. Okay, basically based on the Norse goddess Hel, H-E-L, the ruler of Hell, which is basically Sheol, the grave, and Nephilim. Now that's quite interesting, Nephilim. We'll talk about that in a bit. The character has been a frequent foe of Thor. Okay, so what's interesting is this Nephilim sounds a lot, eerily similar to the word Nephilim that we see in the Word of God right from Genesis 6 and the birthing of the Nephilim, the cohabitation of fallen angels with women. And go figure that Nephilim, according to the mythology, is the abode of darkness, a world of darkness. It is one of the 9 worlds in Norse mythology. It overlaps with hell. So Nephilim was primarily a realm of primordial ice and cold with the frozen river. I'm not going to bother pronouncing these things. So basically, Nephilim was one of the 2 primordial realms. Between the realm, one being the realm of fire. Okay, so what's interesting here is that later it became the abode of Hel, a goddess daughter of Loki. So Hela, or Hel, is a daughter of Loki, and we all know who Loki is, the troublemaker, the adopted brother of Thor, who is basically the son of a frost giant, and again comes from the same place, Jotunheim or Nephilim, this frozen place. So what's quite interesting is that we see this. Now this is just a cartoon depiction of the frost giants, but basically they're in the ice. They have this realm in Nephilim or Jotunheim, and this is one of the chief enemies, I would say, of the Asgardians, of where Thor is from. And so, we constantly see so many superhero movies showing the things in the ice, whether it's Superman and his base is in the ice, whether it's even Transformers and they find these things in the ice. And of course, now you've got this even with Thor and these reference to ice. I believe that even the book of Enoch speaks of the fallen angels being imprisoned in Antarctica, which is most likely why we are not allowed to go there. All right, so that's what I believe is being shown here in this Nephilim. Okay, but as we keep going, we will see that Kate Blanchett, or this character Hela, is very, very interesting, because now Hela is a goddess which is being played by Kate Blanchett. She is a daughter of Loki and the giantess Angrboda, according to the comic material. So Loki is also the son of a giant, and Hela's mother is a giantess. But what I find interesting is that the woman is covered in all green. We believe it is goddess Hela, as the green color is rather iconic to the character. So what I find fascinating about this lady Hela, or this goddess Hela, is that she sounds eerily similar to Cernunnos. Okay, the goddess, or the god or goddess that is coming out of the pit, the very same god that Cern the machine is named after. And what I find quite interesting about Hela, later on we'll see her depicted as this. Okay, so this is another form that she takes. You can see the horns that are all over her head. What does this remind you of? This, to me, is a major connection to Cernunnos, the beast that comes out of the pit. The very same thing that I believe CERN is trying to do, the machine. Okay, they're trying to bring on the destroyer. Even Revelation 13, the second beast that comes out of the earth has two horns. I believe this is possibly Cernunnos or Baphomet or whatever you want to call it. They're probably all the same thing. But again, we were talking about, the chief gods that are there at CERN, and it is none other than Shiva and his wife Kali. Okay, Shiva and Kali are one and the same thing. They're husband and wife. Husband god, wife god, both gods of destruction and death. The goddess Kali and Shiva, they are the destroyers and the goddess of death. So the same thing is being shown here. I believe that we are constantly being shown this theme of death and destruction. We were talking about, even in a previous video, about how Kali is the consort of Lord Shiva. So same kind of thing being shown here, just as we spoke about in previous videos. But Kali is the goddess of death and Shiva is the destroyer. They basically work hand in hand. And I find it quite fascinating that they put up this image of Kali that we have seen many, many times in previous videos back in, I believe it was in 2015 sometime. Actually, I can't remember the date, whether it was 2015 or 2016, that they projected these images of Kali on the Empire State Building, the goddess of death and destruction. So why would they do that? I honestly believe that they know what is coming, that they are working hard to bring on the destroyer that is going to come out of the pit. That is exactly right from Revelation chapter 9, and where it talks about they're going to open the bottomless pit, and in Hebrew the name is Abaddon, but in Greek the name is Apollyon, or in the CJB it means destroyer. So really, I believe that they are working hard at bringing out the destroyer, the goddess of death and destruction. This is whom they are waiting for, and we see this same imagery all the time. This goddess, this this goddess of destruction, we are constantly being shown. And yet again in Thor Ragnarok, the same character is being shown. And we saw this just recently in a movie that we just broke down a little while ago, the new version of the Mummy, this Princess Amenet, who yet again happens to be the consort of Amun-Ra. So again, just as Hela is the goddess of death and destruction, just as Kali is the consort of Shiva, again death and destruction, so is Amenet the consort of Amun-Ra, again bringing on destruction and death and this same kind of thing. So we are constantly being bombarded with this mother goddess destroyer kind of character or deity or force that is going to come upon the earth very, very soon. We are shown this constantly in so many different ways. I believe even Katy Perry's video that came out recently for the Olympics called Rise, this song Rise, again we see this female figure rising up out of the waters. Could it be that this was yet again, I think it's also representing the Antichrist, the beast that is coming out of the waters, but possibly again a mother goddess destructive force that is coming upon the earth very, very soon. The same kind of thing that we are being shown in Thor Ragnarok with this goddess Hela, the goddess of destruction, goddess from the underworld. She is coming to bring such chaos upon the earth. And this is nothing new. We have seen this many times. Even if you go back to the movie Ghostbusters, who was the chief bad guy in the end? It was this Gozer, the Gozerian. Yet again, it was a female deity. I think the same thing we're being shown. You've got the good old Egyptian pyramid in the background, Illuminati pyramid. You've got the obelisks. And of course, again, you've got this female destroyer character that comes through the portal that is opened on top of that building in New York City. So yet again, this female goddess of destruction that is constantly being shown here. So, this has been telegraphed to us for decades, and we need to really, really start understanding or showing people what is going on here. I do not believe any of this is coincidence. I believe that they are getting more blatantly obvious. I mean, especially with the effects that they can do now. they are making it look more and more real, and this is definitely coming upon the earth very, very soon. And as we keep going, we'll see Hela enters the realm of Asgard in order to bring on Ragnarok, which is basically the great war of the gods, and we will talk about that in a little bit. But can you see what this is depicting? What we are blatantly being shown here. But first, don't forget that the Illuminati fallen angel symbolism is all over the place. We can see the triangles basically on the back of the outfits of the so-called good gods. You know, the fallen angels. They've even got horns on their helmets. So again, showing basically that they're really fallen angels. They're not the angels of Yahweh at all. Each of them has such Luciferian symbolism on them. So really, we're just being shown, you know, the whole duality of Satan fighting Satan, or as if he's the hero and the good guy and the bad guy. It's the same kind of duality, but basically Hela is coming in here to basically wreak havoc on the gods and bring about Ragnarok, which we will talk about in a bit. But really, this is nothing new under the sun. We are being shown the same thing over and over again. So really, what is Ragnarok? Okay, this is actually doomsday, or the final battle of the gods, supposedly. Okay, so it's between Loki and his children. All right, Hel, or Hela, is one of these people, goddess of the dead, versus the gods of Asgard, or basically being touted as the good gods, the benevolent gods like Thor and Odin and all those people, or sorry, not people, gods, supposedly humans, and goodwill fail. So this is what Ragnarok is, a total cataclysmic apocalypse, I guess you could say, in the Norse version of their end time eschatology. This is what the Norse believe, and they believe that this Ragnarok, or this Norse mythology, is saying this Ragnarok is coming, which to me is a perversion of what the Bible talks about that is coming. Because of course Lucifer has to have his counterfeits, and according to Wikipedia, in Norse mythology, Ragnarok is a series of future events, including a great battle, foretold to ultimately result in the death of a number of major figures, including the gods Odin, Thor, all these other ones, including Loki, the occurrence of various natural disasters, and the subsequent submersion of the world in water. Afterward, the world will resurface anew and fertile. The surviving and returning gods will meet, and the world will be populated by two human survivors. Ragnarok is an important event in Norse mythology and has been the subject of scholarly discourse and theory throughout the history of Germanic studies. So can you see, you know, some similarities to Bible prophecy with the natural disasters and, you know, even floods, talking about the world submersed in water, and then saying now you've got the whole rebirth, you know, the whole Luciferian rebirth that they love to talk about. The world will resurface anew and fertile, so talking about their golden age, and the surviving returning gods. So this is the perversion right here, how they want to say that the returning gods, or the ones that survive, the fallen angels that survive, will meet and they will still rule the world, and the world will be repopulated by two human survivors. So really, just going back to the garden, Satan wants so bad to go back to that Garden of Eden so that he can have another shot at basically making this world fall, at basically so that he can reverse the work that Yeshua has done for us. But this is a perversion of the real, true biblical prophecy that is going to happen, because the fallen angels and Lucifer, they are not going to win. They are not going to survive what is coming. And I've got some other articles here that you can check out for yourself. One is from Ancient Origins. It also talks about Ragnarok, the story of the apocalypse that is coming. Again, in Norse mythology, Ragnarok is a series of apocalyptic events that will define the end of the world, where giants of frost and fire will together fight the gods in a final battle that will ultimately destroy the planet, or to say the world, submerging it underwater. Okay, so according to legend, the world will resurface, so that same kind of thing that we just spoke about. And so, but you know, the big difference is that these gods are going to, some of them are going to die, like Thor and Odin and the main ones, but you know, their offspring is going to live on, and they are going to keep ruling the world, and human beings are only going to be left two. So again, when you think about that, the fact that only two human beings are going to be left, that also talks about depopulation. So really, everyone is going to die. And of course, we know that the elites love to talk about their depopulation agenda. I've got another article here also about Ragnarok from Norse mythology for smart people. You can check out that article as well. Sorry about that there, but really, it's all about the doom of the gods, a major cataclysm that is coming upon this earth, that is going to happen up in the heavens, and it is going to be very, very cataclysmic. But Again, according to Norse mythology, they like to push the fact that that Satan, Lucifer, and his fallen angels are going to win in the end, that they are going to survive, that his fallen angel deities are going to still rule this world, and there will be humans, of course, only two that will be left, and they will repopulate the world. But if you know Bible prophecy, and if you know that Abba Yahweh and his word never fails, you know that this is a perversion of the true story of what is going to happen. And so let us look again at some more screenshots here. Again, this battle that is starting. What's quite interesting is we see Thor being thrown out of heaven here in this scene. So the son of Lucifer being cast down to the earth, along with his father possibly. So to me, this is totally Revelation 12 imagery here. The casting out of the dragon, and his son is coming very, very soon. And so all of this stuff, Ragnarok, the war of the gods, and the fact that there's going to be a lot of deaths, and these fallen angels or gods are going to die, and all this kind of thing, I believe this is what we are being shown is right from the book of Revelation chapter 12, and where Satan gets thrown out of heaven. Because right from verse 7 it says, there was battle in heaven, Michael and his angels fought with the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought, but they did not prevail, nor was there a place found for them in heaven any longer. So the great dragon was cast out, that serpent of old, called the devil and Satan, who deceives the whole world, was cast to the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Okay, so really this is what I believe we are being shown in these movies. The Illuminati, the Luciferians, they are waiting for their gods to come, and they are going to get cast out. Lucifer is going to get cast out of heaven very, very soon. And this is being shown in this movie. He's going to be cast out for good, and he's going to be cast to the earth. He will not be able to go back into the heavens any longer. And so I found it quite fascinating that they show this scene in the trailer of Thor being cast down out of the skies. He's flung to this other realm here, and he hits the ground. And so again, could be imagery of the devil and the beast coming very soon. And this scene I found extremely interesting. I think, again, totally in line with Revelation 12 and the battle of the angels, the angels of Abba Yahweh and the fallen angels of Lucifer. Look at this. They're all being cast out. Literally, you can see this war, these things they're falling to the ground, or they're falling out of heaven. I mean, this is just crazy in your face Revelation 12 imagery. I wouldn't even say this is imagery. They are clearly depicting what is coming very, very soon. And that is, again, Lucifer, Satan, the dragon, the devil, and his fallen angels are going to be cast out of heaven very soon. And I honestly believe that Asgard, this realm that Thor and Odin, where they live, I believe Asgard represents the second heaven. When we look at this realm, Asgard, it's very beautiful. It's got amazing buildings and scenery, and you've even got like this, the main palace of Odin, which basically looks like a pyramid in my opinion. I believe we are being shown the second heaven, the abode of the dragon, the abode of Lucifer. I honestly believe, I never, for the longest time, we're taught to believe that Satan, Lucifer lives in hell, under the earth and this kind of thing, but that is just not true. The Bible clearly says that he is the prince of the power of the air. So I believe that this realm, Asgard, we constantly show or being shown in the movies that, the camera rises above the earth, and then all of a sudden they're in Asgard. So basically Asgard is right above us. I believe it's the same thing that we've shown many, many times. If you believe in the true cosmology of our world, we are enclosed under a dome, a firmament that Abba Yahweh has set up. And above the first heaven, which is in our realm, the second heaven, I believe, is where Asgard is, or the realm of Lucifer, his kingdom. And of course, his kingdom, I believe, is also beautiful, because how would he be able to deceive a third of the angels to join him if he didn't have something that was beautiful? So I believe that Asgard is a total depiction of Lucifer's kingdom, even as Yeshua said when his disciples asked him in Matthew 24, what will be the signs of the end? And he said that nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. And I believe that is Lucifer's kingdom rising up against Yahweh's kingdom. And of course, the second heaven is the domain of the devil. He's the prince of the power of the air, and his kingdom is truly rising up in these days. He believes he is going to win. So again, I believe the second heaven, the waters above, that is exactly the domain or the kingdom of Lucifer. That is where he resides. He is a very, very beautiful creature, and people like to depict him with horns and red skin and a pitchfork, but really, I believe Lucifer is a very beautiful being. Of course, he's going to be shown for who he truly is. He's also the dragon, of course, and a shapeshifter, just as all the other fallen angels are. But of course, his kingdom is going to fall. His kingdom in the second heaven is definitely going to fall very, very soon. And I just found it incredibly fascinating that they showed this particular scene in the trailer, which of course we will see in the movie itself, the fallen angels being cast out of their heavenly kingdom up there in the second heaven. And really, this is nothing new. This is right from Revelation 12, that the rebel angels are going to be hurled from heaven, that the great dragon was cast out, that serpent of old, the devil and Satan who deceives the whole world, he was cast to the earth. So that is really exactly what we're being shown here, that remember, Satan is not only the prince of devils, according to Matthew, he's not only the prince of this world in John, but he is the prince of the power of the air. That is exactly what he is, and he is going to come very, very soon. He's going to be cast out, and this is going to happen very soon. And something else that I also find quite fascinating that many of you have been speaking about, on September the 23rd of this year. Now, what's quite fascinating is that we spoke about 923 a lot back in 2015, but quite a fascinating sign is going to happen on September the 23rd, which is also from Revelation 12 verses 1 and 2. So we just spoke about that. We spoke about the part from verse 7 to 9 about Satan and his angels being cast out. But in the first part of Revelation 12, it talks about this sign that is going to occur in the heavens. And wouldn't you know it, there appeared a great wonder in heaven, the woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet. So that woman could possibly be this constellation Virgo. She is going to have the sun clothed. She's going to be clothed with the sun. The sun is going to be right directly behind her, so making it seem like she is clothed. She's going to have the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. So Mercury, Mars, Venus, Regulus, Leo, all these different stars will make up the 12 stars that are going to be above her head. And then she is going to be with child, which basically is Jupiter that is in her womb, and will come out around that time of 923. So go figure, this 923 is playing into this yet again, and it just happens to be in Revelation 12, which also speaks of the great war in heaven and Lucifer being cast down to the earth along with his fallen angels. Now, I'm not trying to predict anything or make any date setting here or anything like that, but I just find it fascinating that this 923 of this year just so happens to be right around the Feast of Trumpets. So this year, from September 21st to 22nd, 2017, will be the Feast of Trumpets, or Yom Teruah. So the very next day, which is basically right close to the Feast of Trumpets, this crazy sign is supposed to be appearing in the sky. So does it mean that something crazy is going to happen? Of course, we don't know for sure, but I would say, as Yeshua has said, keep your eyes up and look for your redemption that is coming very, very soon. Okay, it is very fascinating. I believe we're living in exciting days, but also very crazy days as well, because the kingdoms of darkness is totally rising up against the kingdom of light. And so, how can we forget Loki? We see the scene here. He's also the son of a frost giant. He's also father to Hela. So he's a major trickster as well. He can sometimes seem good, but he's basically out for himself. He's also, in my opinion, depicted as the beast coming out of the pit with the two horns. We always see him dressed in green, major serpent imagery behind him. We always see him with these two horns, this helmet that he wears. And we know that Loki wants to destroy Asgard. He wants to literally destroy everything and rule, because that's what he wants. He wants to rule. He wants to reign. So I believe, again, Loki is yet another depiction of the beast with two horns that comes out of the pit. And of course, the reference to green Cernunno, same kind of thing that we're constantly being shown. And as we keep going, we see the announcer say, it's the main event time. So, is Thor going to fight for us now? Of course, he's got a different hairstyle here, but, we can't have a movie without the good old one eye symbolism. We've got Thor now, got these two stripes over his one eye. Now, of course, good old Thor matches his father, Odin, now with the old one eye, like father, like son, right? So God of the skies, Lucifer, and the God of thunder, the beast coming down to earth. And so, you got the same kind of imagery yet again. I found this quite fascinating as he's waiting for his challenger that major red and blue symbolism here. I believe we're being shown the two colors or the two pillars of Freemasonry, the mixing of the red and blue to symbolize the opening of the third eye. All right, that's what I believe is being shown here. And then later on we see basically this Grandmaster played by Jeff Goldblum and Loki overseeing the fight between Thor and Hulk. It's like they're sitting in this special box like in a stadium. But can you notice anything in the background? You notice something quite interesting. What caught my eye right away was basically this unfinished pyramid, or this unfinished pyramidal hallway that is right behind them. Again, in our faces, showing the Illuminati pyramid. And of course, what's going to go on top of it eventually will be the capstone. Antichrist, the beast, Tammuz, Nimrod, whatever you want to call him, he is coming very soon. So in our faces, symbology. And of course, the trailer ends with, in my opinion, major duality here. Thor is fighting Hulk. And in my opinion, you know, Thor is a fallen angel, and Hulk is a modified hybrid human. So Thor, the god of thunder, fights a Nephilim creature here. And, you know, this is showing the duality, the devil fighting against his own kind. You know, the devil loves to show himself to be the good guy and the bad guy. Yet again, this same duality that we are constantly being shown here. So really, nothing new under the sun. This is what is being shown to us constantly. And I believe Daniel 8 speaks about this, which is confirmed by Isaiah and the book of Revelation. So when we look at Daniel chapter 8, it talks about this goat that comes on the scene. And it says, out of one of them came a little horn, which grew exceedingly great. Now, I believe this little horn is the beast, the false Messiah. He grew exceedingly great toward the south, the east, and toward the glorious land. And it grew up to the host of heaven. So when you think about it, we know that the hosts of heaven are the stars up in the firmament. You know, we are being told that stars are billions or trillions of light years away, which is just not true. I believe they're possibly only about maybe 1,000 or a few thousand kilometers or miles up in the air at the top of the firmament. So it says that this little horn grew up to the hosts of heaven, basically a giant, and cast some of the hosts and some of the stars to the ground and trampled them. He even exalted himself as high as the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifices were taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. All right, so really I believe when it says that some of the hosts were cast down, that this is again Lucifer and the beast, that they, this war in heaven that is coming, that they get cast down. Some of them get trampled. So this is again showing the war of Michael and his angels and the fallen angels, and they get cast to the ground. And you know, this guy comes, the beast, the devil, the dragon, and the false Messiah. They come in great rage, and it says that even because of transgression, an army was given over to the horn to oppose the daily sacrifices, and he cast truth down to the ground. He did all this and prospered. So this false Messiah is coming. There will be no truth on his lips, that he is going to take away any kind of, even any other religion, because he wants to be worshipped. So Daniel 8 clearly shows the same thing that is being shown in Revelation 12. I believe Revelation 12 is a confirmation of Daniel 8 and the beast and the dragon being cast down to the earth along with their fallen angels. The book of Isaiah in chapter 13, which we have mentioned many times, speaks of the giants that are coming to fulfill the wrath of Abba Yahweh, because the sin of this world is piling up, and he is going to allow these fallen angels and their Nephilim offspring to come back onto the world scene yet again to fulfill the time of judgment, the time of wrath that is going to come upon the entire world. So really, I believe this movie is depicting Daniel 8, Isaiah 13, and Revelation 12. All in this movie, we are being shown this. So don't fall for this nonsense. You know, good old Thor and Odin, they are, to me, in my opinion, a depiction of Lucifer himself and his false Messiah that is coming very soon. They are going to be cast to the earth. Thor and Odin, Lucifer and the beast, whatever you want to call it, it's one and the same thing. They are going to be cast to the earth. There's going to be a major cataclysm, this war of the gods, which I believe is what is being shown in Revelation 12 and Daniel 8, that Michael and his archangels are going to go to war big time with Lucifer the dragon and his fallen angels, and they are going to be cast down to the earth very soon. And that is exactly what I believe this movie is talking about that Ragnarok, in the true biblical version of that, is that Satan loses, that the dragon loses, okay? Because at the end, of course, not only are they going to get cast down, not only is Satan, the dragon, and his fallen angels going to lose to Michael and his band of angels, the good angels, but in the end, when Yeshua HaMashiac comes in power and glory, he is going to slay these false gods. He is going to slay the dragon, the dragon and the beast and the false prophet. They're going to be thrown into the lake of fire. But the rest of this army, the army of the beast, the army of the dragon, that's going to cover the entire earth at this battle of Armageddon, or at least going to cover this particular part of the earth in the battle of Armageddon, they are going to be slain by Yeshua HaMashiach himself, by the sword that comes out of his mouth. That is the true Ragnarok. That is the true death of these false gods, these fallen angels, their nephilim, whatever you want to call them. They are all going to be slain by Yeshua HaMashiach. He is coming. The true Messiah, the true King of this world is coming very, very soon. And so do not be deceived by these movies. They love to depict all this kind of stuff. In fact, right after I'm done here, I'm going to play you a clip of what the top 10 facts of Ragnarok, and what the Norse mythology and even lines up with all the pagan religions and what they believe is coming. But I will show you some 10 facts about Ragnarok and what they believe. But it is really a counterfeit of the real thing, that Yeshua is going to come and defeat and slay all of these false gods, all of these fallen angels, and everything that the devil has worked so hard for. They are going to be brought down by Yeshua HaMashiach once and for all, and he is going to reign in power and great glory when he comes with his army that will defeat this false, this Luciferian, this final army, this last Armageddon battle. This is going to be won by Yeshua. So take heart, because Yeshua has overcome the world. Again, nobody has to believe anything that I am saying. I expect you to do your own research. I thank you very much for checking out this video, but as always, please be aware of what is being shown to us in plain sight. Abba Yahweh bless you.